our predictions, because what we've just seen was an incredible performance from them on Icebox, and we're going to be heading on to Haven. I'm Ginny, and join me on the cast is going to be analyst MP, who's filling in color caster today. I want to pick that analyst brain. Okay, we're now going to pretend like this is an actual desk. I'm the host or the analyst. What went wrong for VAMONOS? For BONK, because it looked like they had it and then it didn't.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of actually VAMONOS being really good and having a lot of individual brilliance, especially when we look at that last round. That was perfect scenario for VAMONOS. They got a perfect flank right there. A lot of good, actually one good pick, but CHIWA trades it back. It's a 4vs3 situation, kind of ideal for BONK. They get the neural theft as well, but somehow Nille is able to capitalize onto those two players, and I think that was kind of name of the game from time to time. There was a lot of individual brilliance for the side of VAMONOS, and BONK weren't necessarily making so many mistakes. I think one of the biggest parts was BONK losing that momentum at the start when VAMONOS were able to get a few rounds in the board. I think that was a really rough part. They couldn't quite gather their defensive side back again, and it was hard for them to go for those retakes. I think letting VAMONOS onto the sides on the defensive side for BONK was really detrimental. If you challenge them more, get that confidence down, because you also had a great confidence at the start of the map, I think BONK could have had so much better map.
Yeah, and when we're looking at BONK as well, it feels like we had individual performances coming out, but now that they're going to be heading on to Haven, which is a map, as we said earlier on, we touched upon a little bit for VAMONOS, the record has been quite good, especially recently, whereas when we're looking at BONK, the previous iteration that they have, it wasn't the best. And what can we expect here on Haven? Because it's looking a little shaky in terms of that consistency that we're expecting them to have.
Yeah, and like when we look at the recent matchups, it doesn't show that great of BONK, but that was back in chamber meta. Now, CHIWA on CYPHER already showing great success in that last map. I think CHIWA is going to be detrimental in this map in Haven. He's going to make so many lurks. He should be able to get so much information, so much pressure on the side of VAMONOS that they're going to be scared for this CHIWA lurk. He can go for garage, go for mid, and I think mid control is going to be really important, especially on the attacking side. I think not for BONKer, not for BONK, for BONKer, I think if I remember correctly, he has always had like great calls in this map. I really like how he's playing it, especially when they were with Yasin. The race combination was perfect, but I'm just wondering how they can do it with Yuseu. Is Yuseu gonna be good enough race compared to Yasin? Are you gonna actually have a better race, or what is gonna happen here?
Yeah, I think that's the question mark here, is who's going to be filling out Yasin's role in terms of having that raise available. But I also think one thing that we should highlight here is Tundra, who were previously BONK. They had this thing about them that we questioned them a few times in terms of interviews, and that is the first map, MP. I feel like they do not enjoy the first map. It's usually never goes in their favor. And it feels like even, in Polaris stage 1 and 2, it was an issue that they were trying to deal with. Do you think potentially this has seeped over from the previous BONK into the Tundra and now into the new BONK?
It could definitely, because when we had those interviews with BONKer, it looked like it was so devastating for him. They kept losing the first map, and obviously if you keep losing the first map, especially when it's yours and you have like 10-2 lead, it's not gonna be easy. But now we have the agent select. Seems like kind of similar on terms of the 3-man core with the Omen, Breach, Sova, but BONK, not surprisingly, wanting to go with the CYPHER raise. And on the other side we have Killjoy Jet, and you're actually on the pistol round, Sick, planting the spike down.
Okay. We're thrown right into it. Jisoo and Kluja getting one apiece. Numbers are turning Kluja with the ghost doing a lot, but eventually BONKer does manage to put them down, and VAMONOS having the spike, just ticking. BONK, they are looking to defuse, but they don't want to give up their positioning as of yet. Going out, pushing out, gets one BONK right here, and then leaves Nille all by himself. Pistol round secured for BONK. Strong start to begin with. Yeah, good round.
Yes, it is. We didn't quite see all of that round, but it just got back in time. Yep, spike planted, first kill coming exactly when we jump in. Bonk taking the first pistol, looking solid in that round. Good retake, getting clearance off that mid. And Kicks, I'm excited to see what this guy has to offer with the breach. He was great with KO. And the breach, it's not too known from Kicks, at least not for me. But kind of similar to KO, you can support your team or you can support yourself.
Yes. Support yourself. Invest in yourself. You can do
Absolutely. You sound like
no, we're not going there.
One of those financial gurus or something like that.
Hey, I did study finance, so you know.
Oh shit.
What's yo. Anyway, shit. Apologies.
My bad.
One way from Cider is going to deter them from pushing into Garage, that's for sure. But we have the rotations coming out, and it feels like this is what we've seen last map as well, where VAMONOS test the water in terms of one side of the map. They don't really like the way it feels, so they go and dip their toes into another puddle, and this time that puddle is going to be A.
Yep. Is that puddle gonna be too deep? Can they enter the side bunker with the rifle? I think, yep, under heaven. Just trying to get that control user with the spectre. Oh! Bunker is not with the rifle anymore. That's a fast pick.
Yeah, Jiso is going to be able to pick that one up as well. And they're looking to get a couple of trades. Zik, Vorwan, and Kluja get one each. Kicks is going to manage to only get one. But that's such a difficult scenario to be in because Cider now has the frenzy. Needs to go for the retake against Kluja's Vandal. And so does Vorwan. It's Christmas come super mega early for them. Because they have no one but 2 Vandals out of this round.
I mean, we're talking about the puddle. VAMONOS,
that was an ocean.
Drained it down. No, they drained it down. They were like, there's no puddle. We can just walk into the site. And sick. The frenzy duel. Always love to see. Okay. Bonk. I don't think Bunker even had a time to react for the first pick. I think they're gonna lose one rifle. Maybe. No, closes far enough. He should be able to save that. And yeah, 2 rifles saved from that round. Amazing performance. Amazing result. Even that spike bump was great. It was probably more than they were expecting.
Yeah.
And look what Bunker has. It's not quite the judge.
No. I'm getting like flashbacks to stage 2 Polaris 2022. Didn't even exist 2021. What am I saying? But it's also a little worrying in terms of how BONK is approaching this. So instead of sitting this one out, they are trying to fight fire with less efficient fire. And therefore, this is the round that they very crucially need to win. Aggressive push on early on to try and detect some information. A little bit has been gathered. And therefore, they're looking to push out onto short. They're going to send out the boombot. It's not really going to spot out any player. But they know that there are players looking to get onto A. And this gives Cider the opportunity to push aggressively onto C long. Which then gives them early information if there needs to be a rotation.
Yeah, just confirming that suspicion of that A push is really good for Cider. 4 players stacking onto A long. Can they enter the site? Kicks. I think he's holding... Yeah, he's holding a flash in the side box. Is it gonna do much? 4 players already here. Cider holding flank, but really passively, not allowing anyone to rotate off. And Bunker, he might have some treats for this judge. Or rather bucket.
VAMONOS are going to have to commit. I don't think there's going to be enough time for them to go for any form of a rotation. Because looking at the clock, 30 seconds for them to go for the rotations might be a little scary. And that's Bonker and Kicks both coming out on top. I guess I should not be judging that. See what I did there? CHIWA and just to get one piece. Leaving Nille all by himself. Not a man to be played with because we know what he can do. We saw how he carried that last one himself. This gives Bonk the opportunity to get an upgrade each.
I guess we're going back and forth.
Yeah,
we are. An eco gets around. Bonk. Yeah, why shouldn't we just clear the bank, invest 2 rifles and some thrift store buy alongside that? they just clean out the round. Not flawless, quite. They lose one player, but still 4 rifles gathered in that round. And I'm just gonna call it. HLTV confirmed. VAMONOS is gonna win this round. Surely. Bunker. Solo anchor on A side. Just has to back if there's some pressure. And already backing out the CT.
Yep. Same information gathering tactic from Cider, pushing out onto C long, trying to get onto grass, trying to force early information, but VAMONOS, again, they're sticking to A side. It's worked for them before. They want to stick to what they're comfortable with, and we've seen that as well on Icebox. We've seen similar things on the game Focus versus HS Dire. Deer, however you want to pronounce it.
Deer?
Deer. I feel like deer is like D-E-R, you know, not D-I-R-R. So, but I could be wrong. Again, I'm not Scandinavian. I'm half Dutch at best. Deer.
That's how Finnish person pronounce.
Okay.
That's Swedish, so it doesn't matter. CHIWA gets taken out. Wow, this retake is harder than they thought. BONK, can they even take Eclusia? It's being a menace.
Bonkar is on a roll. He's got 3 already. But Nila, again, the one to be playing with, and as they're trying to get that defuse out, missing a couple of shots. Are you okay?
My guy is like, I'll just defuse it. No way Nila is gonna hit enough. What?
How can Scyther just sit like... Scyther, are you okay? Like, the absolute nerves of steel. What? To just sit there and be able to defuse...
What? Just like a juggernaut. If you played like Call of Duty, it's a game not as good as Valorant, but still, like, what?
Look, he
2 tags. He just wants it halfway. He's like, oh, I guess I'll kill you. Sure. 303 for Cider. He's. I think he actually wanted to die there. He was like, just one death.
Ooh, Hunter's Fear is coming out really early because they get that information tag. But unfortunately, it's not going to quite connect. Zik is going to be spotted out because it's going to give a sound cue from that cage that he's entered it. So therefore, they're deciding to back off. A hasn't worked for them before. So now they want to switch things up a little bit. And just looking at the setup from CHIWA, initially it would always go on to B site. And that time, VAMONOS goes on to A. But now that VAMONOS has lost A twice in a row, CHIWA moves the setup from B to C. Adaptation.
Yeah, Cider being the one spotting. Exactly. Look at this paranoia.
Oof. I mean, look at CHIWA. You get trapped in his wire. You're like a spider. He's like a spider on his own web. Neural Theft's going to be coming online. Locations are going to be revealed. He's going to feel confident enough to go for some of these swings. Yeah, you have the spike planted. But you still have a lot of members from the side of BONK. Every single one of them with their util to be dealing with. Nille once again coming out on top. Used to guess one, kicks another. Is still one more player to be dealing with. Zik is making this so difficult. It's Bonkar against Zik. He's looking to spray him through the box, but unfortunately that's not going to be quite enough. He's wrapping around. Bonkar does have the elevation, sends out something, but he goes for the jump. Zik clicks his head immediately. That's not ready. VAMONOS.
What
a round.
What a flick there. Adjustment on the head. No way. Zik was even tagged, I think, by the dart. He was spotted multiple times in sight, but still he deals with kicks, deals with bunker, wins out that round that seemed so impossible after the setup from CHIWA. And I loved how BONK played that. They sent Cider spotting for C long, doing that shoulder peek. So VAMONOS wouldn't know that the CYPHER setup is gonna be on C side. And it was there. It gained them 2 kills. But in the end, it's not quite enough. It doesn't even matter.
I would take a timeout after that too. I'll be like shaking in my boots, adrenaline pumping. I'm like, I can't touch my mouse. Like, it's going all over my screen because what a round. Initially, it's going so well for BONK. They get CHIWA, gets the first 2 picks. He gets a Neural Theft online. They're knowing their location. They're able to get a couple of picks. And then all of a sudden, just like that, Nille and Zik online, and every member from the side of BONK is fighting for survival.
Yeah. I have no clue how these rounds have gone this way. Pretty much every round, there has been some kind of surprise element.
Thank you.
First 5 rounds. Now Nille, yeah, they're probably waiting for Sick to calm down, get that adrenaline out. They're probably thinking where the place Nille is locked down as well. It seems like B is gonna be the target.
Yeah, once again, aggressive Cider play. Wants to catch off early rotations, but little does he know. He's going to be walking into the alarm bot. It's going to be activated. Gives a little bit of information away to VAMOS, but not enough in terms of who to be dealing with.
Yeah, but that's good. Good pressure on the C-Long. If they want to get that control, they just have to clear it one by one. And Cider's already back in the C side.
Deploying drone.
Okay. VAMONOS need to get a little bit more information. And it feels like
Take flight.
BONK just refuses to give out any position of any player. The second Cider got tagged with the alarm bot, he backed off. BONK sees the owl drone, he backs off. They do not want to give anything away.
Absolutely no. CHIWA realizes now it's not the best time. Cider once again capitalizing off of that CYPHER setup.
Yep, the
Somehow,
CYPHER setup.
CHIWA. I mean, you have to look for those.
Nille though, Nille is on the lurk. And again, not accounted for. He's gonna hear footsteps from BONK rotating from B to C-Link. He's gonna even spot him. The BONK spotted him as well, and he wants to go for the shock dart, but that's not gonna be enough. Rolling Thunder is invested. CHIWA finds one. Getting that lockdown available as well. But Vor, when he wants to fight for his life, CHIWA eventually does find him. Sunshine's still coming through. Cider sticking it once again. 2 HP. No way. Twice in one game. 6 rounds, and this man just is unbothered, unfazed, calm and collected, ice in his veins.
You could almost say, sheesh. I don't know, like, I guess Cider is giving VAMONOS taste of their own medicine in terms of Sick playing with the Sage Wall in previous map in Icebox. He's getting those diffuses. Cider is like, I have Omen, I can do the same thing, but just with smokes. 2 HP left. And you say, oh, damn, he's fast.
You wouldn't expect anyone to do that.
No. Sunshine? Already kind of clearing out C-side. There's no one to take. This push out. CHIWA needs to be careful of mid. Nille is still lurking around and he capitalizes off that.
Yeah, Nille gets the first. And the util, why are you pulling out a util and what you? I feel like a lot of the times these utils are being pulled out in a very questionable timings because you know there's a player there, your teammate just got killed. Why are you immediately trying to, you know, get your util deployed? Just play off of the pick. It's really, it is a little interesting to see. But I feel like nerves potentially here doing a little bit of this damage. Clusia wants to make that sheriff for Exciter again. Left to capitalize off of that. He's gonna find the first pick. He has to go back to the classic. Decides to teleport out. Doesn't want to commit because there are still 2 players to deal with. Not enough time to go for that defuse. Oh. So. Okay.
Sunset?
Sunshine? That's your teammate.
How many bullets hit the head?
Too many.
Once again, it's Cider who survives. 5-1. All rest of his teammates has at least 5 deaths. And you were talking about the utility being pulled out in those situations. We've seen it time and time again. I think it was Bunker in that situation against Sick.
Yeah, like what? Yeah.
It's like, let's get the shock dart out. But that's exactly when you get picked. When I used to play, I used to have that same problem. I think it's a big problem for a lot of teams, a lot of players who maybe pick up a new agent, especially Breach. Sova is probably one of those as well, where you have a lot of utility. You're maybe not so used to it, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna quickly flash. I'm just gonna quickly use a shock dart to lower his HP. Maybe he's already low. I want to use this shock dart to secure it. But a lot of the times you get caught with your pants down. And it's not a good sight to see. And like, it's hard to see that happening multiple times in one game.
Yeah.
Just gotta fix those. It's something that happens or should happen on ranked games, not right here, multiple times.
Coach MP? Listen, I'm a VAMONOS fan. I'm sorry. Like, that's it. The way that they've been playing this, whether they win or lose, I feel like I'm a VAMONOS fan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Just sir, I'm not biased, but I do think that it's been very impressive seeing how they have performed so far.
Yeah, especially when they came through the qualifiers. You might give a lot of pressure on the VAMONOS because they came through the qualifiers. They were not invited, but they have definitely shown a lot of talent. Great utility work. Sunshine capitalizes off of that. And instantly, they rotate back to C because they know that the A side might be on heavy control. They might have some rotations coming through. And C side is going to be on target.
Yeah, but CHIWA is always going to be waiting on to C side. Again, something that they need to take into consideration. But it doesn't look like he will be checking her Hodge. And Sick gets 2 free picks off of that.
Oh no!
Make it 3! And that's the last player standing. BONK with the classic in hand. Looking to fire a couple of warning shots, but it's not going to do much, unfortunately. Flawless round from VAMONOS. They are not here to play. They are here to take titles.
Absolutely. CHIWA's hopes and dreams shattered right there. He was like, okay, 5 guys, 1 serve. I saw it happen. But not quite this time around, Warren. Why do you clear that, Warren? Why do you clear? Your teammates have already passed it. That's what I'm asking in ranked every time that happens. But in ranked you have reason. You don't trust your teammates. No way. Here, I mean, I guess it's good not to trust, especially in that case.
Yep. I mean, it worked out in their favor. But also when you're looking at the score, right, for BONK, 4, 2 of them is CYPHER just sticking it. Absolutely unbothered. And again,
yeah,
that is speaking volumes in terms of the performance that they're putting on together tonight.
I'm already really happy what has been happened for the side of VAMONOS. BONK, on the other hand, I think I even rated them like top 3 in my mind. I'm not quite certain about that anymore. But I think they can definitely improve. Sick. It's like, no, they can't. Kick's waiting for this push. Can even get 1 kill closer. Not again. Not again. No, not again!
And again and again and again. CYPHER does find one eventually. But it feels like everything is falling apart at the seam. BONK is struggling to reel it back in. VAMONOS is on an absolute tear. Sunshine's doing great. Nila is doing great. Clue's just stepping up to the plate. Zik is 4-1. And you're looking at BONK and it feels like they're struggling so hard to get picks, to win gunfights, to get information out. Yes, you're denying information from VAMONOS in terms of not going out too aggressively, but at the same time, you are not getting information. You don't know what site is going to be hit until it's a little too late. And then the rotations are coming in. They're coming in very disjointed. They're not coming in as a 5-man unit. And it's concerning to watch.
Yes, it is. I think it's real tough situation for BONK. Once again, their kicks not being part of that unit, I think they were so disconnected. 2 players were trying to pick mid, and Kicks instantly when that first shot came, he kinda fell back into that corner and didn't quite capitalize off of that trigger discipline. He was waiting for way too long. Solar Dart coming through, just easy for them.
Easy pick. Yeah, and it feels like a lot of the times we see them play off of each other's utility rather than what we've seen happen from BONK is where, yes, CYPHER has capitalized off of CHIWA's setup, but other than that, it doesn't feel like there has been much in terms of utilizing each other's utility. It feels like individual players are using their utility for their own personal gain, whether that's getting a kill or gathering information. Whereas when you're looking at VAMONOS, the shock dart comes through, everybody's ready. Oh, they predicted that.
No way.
The amount of kills that I have seen today through smoke, like, I'm not surprised anymore.
Yeah, but like the stun comes through. I guess they were expecting some of the push through that smoke as well. A perfect angle. It feels like everything for VAMONOS is going to place. Like they're finding every piece of the puzzle, even the lucky ones.
Last player standing. Spike planted.
Like I say sometimes, luck is deserved. VAMONOS, they have deserved it in this match. What a flick for Sunshine as well. Maybe he was a little bit hesitant previously shooting Warren, trying to flick. But right after that, I think he has gotten like, what, 5-6 kills? And looking really, really solid.
It feels like they've all kind of found their footing. That first game was maybe a little bit of nerves coming in. And I think, again, this is a testament to what we said earlier when we saw Haven being picked by BONK. And fundamentally, like, yes, they have good callouts, but the map didn't always go their way. Whereas for VAMONOS, when we're looking at the data, which is very recent, they have had quite a good time here on Haven. And it shows why. It's not just individual performances from their team. It's just they're very well in terms of working together as a unit. The Hunter's Fury is gonna come out. A couple of players have been tagged, but it's nothing too crucial.
Yeah, and back again to the point of BONK, I think they have decent ideas. I think there's definitely ideas rolling around. Like once the game kicks, yourself trying to push that long, capitalize off of that. It's not quite up to par. They do not get that executed as they would like to. There's no follow-up kicks. He survives, but Yuseo gets dealt with instantly, and I think has been the case. Kicks, no way. That must hurt inside as well. Yep,
he's just delaying that push a little longer as well. But again, as much as utility he has, the other team has too. And Vorwin with that Hunter's Fury, he does manage to get a player. Some tags coming out, but it feels like the rest, looking at the rest of BONK, they decide that this is a saving angle. They have 3 guns left, 2 Vandals and a Phantom, and they decide that we got it. We're just gonna try next time.
I think Kicks dying in the C side is a good showing of how BONK is doing right now. Like, nothing is going to their side. Kicks... that must be a mouse to the wall right there, that moment. Getting stunned, then Hunter's Fury right after, before you got spammed through that box, when there was not really good enough info to know exactly where Kicks goes. You just kind of spam through the box and almost every bullet hits him.
Yep.
And VAMONOS, they're just rolling with it. They are happy. They're even more than happy, I would imagine.
Yeah, 7-4, and I think... I mean, I'm speaking for every single one on Talent here when I say that our predictions did not go VAMONOS' way. But VAMONOS, like, they are absolutely killing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, 4-7, when you look at that scoreline, definitely not impossible when you come to the attacking side of Haven. If you get a 5th here, it would be amazing. But how the last 4 to 5 rounds, maybe even more, has gone. It's like... what do you have to do here for the side of BONK? You try to do some ideas, they do not go to your way. It feels like VAMONOS has an answer to everything that you are trying to do. And Clusa is already on the C side. Cider?
You haven't spotted him out just yet. Clusa's gonna try and go for that clear, but unfortunately the shots are not gonna land from the side of Cider, so Sunshine is the one to be taking this one out. CHIWA, he's doing... I feel like CHIWA from both of these games, if I'm being completely honest, he's been playing a lot more passive than what we're used to. I feel like when he was on the XL roster, he was very good at rotating. He would have a setup on one side, but he'd always be more than happy to go onto the other, and I feel like we've not seen much of that yet. Jusu with the paint shell does manage to get one. It's gonna give him the showstopper, making it 2 in total. The race coming into play here. Looking good for the side of BONK. They need to continue holding on to this momentum. Sunshine has teleported to the back, and they've absolutely been able to spot that out. That's very predictable in terms of Omen players. 4-1 finds one, Neil another. But again, it's being stuck. And this is the 3rd time that BONK wins by sticking to the fuse. 3 out of 5 rounds. That's more than 50%. If my math is okay. Which it usually isn't.
I think it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe. That's a good ulti from yourself. Just knowing that his teammate has clear default, there's only one position where the enemy can come. Getting that pick is so crucial. The cage down, and I think VAMONOS was so spread out right there. Nilenko, Raw, Sunshine coming from CT, one player at long as well, for I think it was Warren. There's 3 different angles that you have to look for, but everyone is being covered. Every spot is being covered, and inside the CYPHER cage, there's one player defusing BONK. Really solid that they got the 5th round, but I think they would be more than happy getting this pistol round and evening out the odds, because they need all the momentum that they can get.
Yeah, BONK has been okay when it comes to the pistol rounds. I think it's been so far quite 50-50.
Jinx.
But when we see, I was literally going to say, when we expect aggression from VAMONOS, VAMONOS are the ones to end up on top. And that's the aggression coming out from VAMONOS. They pushing not just one man, not two men, but a three man at a garage. Like, you cannot deal with that as a one player. Like, unless you're, yeah, VAMONOS, there we go, again, aggression. Sunshine, Nile, they both get one. And it leaves BONK, again, wondering, what is our approach? What are we going to do? Because now we're down 3 out of 5 players.
Yeah, CHIWA on the lurk. It's going to be usual sight in this matchup. But Warren is so aware already. I hate that angle that he's holding. I don't think CHIWA is going to be overextended. But now they know. They have the information that Spike has been planted to A side.
Yep. That's at least some form of monetary gain into BONK's pocket. So getting that plant down, it's good to have. You get a bit of a credit. You have a little bit of a cushion that you can potentially start to build, because their economy throughout that defensive round did not look the greatest. CHIWA gets the first. Oh, almost gets distracted by his own teammate, gets the second. Sunshine's taken out, and that leaves only Zik. Even Kicks contributing to this. You're gonna have to deal with two players at completely different angles. That's not gonna be possible, and that is the pistol round that BONK needed.
Okay, CHIWA gaining some confidence. I like that, especially when we come to this attacking side. We will most likely see CHIWA lurk quite a lot. I would like to see him group up with the team as well, so not to be too predictable, which he probably will. And like, I really liked how VAMONOS played start of this round, but somehow they're not able to take that 4vs2 situation down with them. I don't know what happened there. 1 by 1 individual duels. If you give them the CHIWA, he takes them.
It might not be the best game, but it's still CHIWA. You do not want, and not just CHIWA, I feel like even Jutsu, Kick, Cider, BONK, you don't want to give them individual peaks. So again, BONK timeout, I think as much as this is beneficial for BONK, it's also really good for VAMONOS, because they can reflect on that last pistol round and decide that if they want to keep pushing, if they want to keep extending this lead, these small mistakes, these individual peaks that they're making, they are not a good thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the realization for Focus on the previous matchup as well. You cannot go for these individual mistakes. You cannot go dancing into a 4vs1, because it could bite you back like it did just right there for VAMONOS. And BONK taking time out after that, just thinking about the second round and the upcoming rounds after that. Just chilling, relaxing, and coming for the... I think they understand from that first round that VAMONOS likes to push. They like to aggress. And this is exactly what we're gonna see.
Okay, aggression from VAMONOS. They're gonna be going into Cider, who, by the looks of it, has not actually decided to invest into anything. CHIWA, though, he does have that Vandal, so that's a little bit more trickier to deal with. Spike is still on grass. Jutsu gets pick. There's only 2 left from the side of VAMONOS. Sunshine and Zik left to be dealing with it. A little bit of util utilized. And he's going back onto B site. BONK now it's a matter of picking up the spike, planting it, and trying to take anyone's head off who decides to contest.
Yeah, Zik. Most likely not gonna be checking this call.
Enemy remaining.
He's not. CHIWA, third one, neural theft online for the next round. And Sunshine, the only one left. Sheriff in hand, but Kicks should be there to deal with. Oh, playing beautifully. Just contact. He's not gonna pick that until Yuzo gets the contact.
And that's the discipline that they need. That's what you want to see from teams on this level. You want to see that discipline, but instead, Kicks just runs. He doesn't have discipline. He just wants to go. I mean, it worked, yes, but again, that is the kind of plays that it works now, but will it work in the future? And I think it's these plays, pulling these plays off, it gives you a little bit of a false confidence in terms of, oh yeah, that worked, I can do it again. And you don't know if again it will work. It's like a 50-50 play. There was no util involved. There was no contact involved. You just run straight ahead, click his head, which admittedly Kicks is incredibly good at. But that cannot be the only thing that you take into consideration when you're going for these peaks, because it's scary. I mean, you close the gap. That's great. But you still have work to do.
Yeah. I mean, I have to give credit to Kicks. When he had the rifle, he was waiting patiently. Then he dropped the rifle, the bunker, to not give it away. And then just went for his sider. Gets the first kill. Warren is going to get taken out as well. And the side is for BONK.
Theft.
VAMONOS is already saving.
Yeah, Neural Theft's online. They know the location. They know that A is absolutely free. 99. So they take it. They don't lose a single player. They don't lose a single rifle. They don't lose anything. They only had to do is use a Neural Theft.
Yep. Well, I mean, there was a little bit more to it. A few kills on the start, right? But a good site execute. They do not have to waste too much of utility even. I think it was one paranoia, yeah, a lot of breach utility on the site. Actually, only stun and a flash. When you look at Kicks' utility, he still has flash aftershock available. Not too much invested for the side of BONK either. They get away with huge bank after that. 8-7. And BONK, they were looking like there's not a chance they will come back into this game. Okay, maybe a slight chance to getting the grip of this game and actually being a really potential candidate to win this map.
Yep, 3 rounds in a row as well, so it's building their economy. VAMONOS are the ones to be struggling. We can see it in the buy as well, coming out from their side. They have a couple of Vandals in the mix, a Sheriff, a Classic. It's not looking the best, but we've seen VAMONOS in worse positions. Remember last map, Icebox?
Yep.
VAMONOS, we counted them out completely, especially last map, and they did so well at coming back. So it still feels like this could be anybody's game.
Absolutely. And I think one of the most dangerous things from the first map was to gather that BONK, they were really good in the first, like, what, 5 rounds? And then they plateaued heavily. VAMONOS was able to gather how BONK is playing and play against that. Play really well against them and get those individual rounds as well. If they can do it again in here, I would say that's guaranteed overtime, but no, it's 8-7. BONK looking for that 9th round on the board, 2-round lead. The spike is planted already.
Yep. Initially, Closure is going to dash onto the side, but gets picked off immediately by Jisoo. Zig managed to find one, make that a second with that Bulldog doing quite a lot of damage. Gets flash and has to go for that reload. Nille pushing out through Garage, looking to see if there's any more players, but he has CHIWA to deal with, hot on his heels. And doesn't matter because Nille keeps cool, calm, and collected under pressure. Is going to get taken out by Scyther, and there's a couple more players left to deal with. Paranoia is going to give Scyther the opportunity to take out 2. He has to go for the teleport, but it's been sticking. And once again, for the 1,000,000th time this game, a round is won by sticking the defuse.
Yeah, Zeke. Just using Rolling Thunder. And once again, it's Zeke. It doesn't matter if it's Sage or Bridge. Just use some utility and you're gonna stick that. Cider, he can't even find where he put himself into. He's like, okay, the door is on the left side. Oh, it's not. And when he realizes that the door is not on the left side, it's already too late. Zeke has it already halfway, so he has to just get to the second half. And 8-8, VAMONOS is back in the game. Easily. Cider giving some pressure, but they do not have the complete control of A lobby.
No. A C-Long.
Wait for CHIWA.
Yep, C-Long also unattended for from the side of VAMONOS, so again, that could be a potential angle to play from. CHIWA gets that first pick onto A side. It drags the remaining members of VAMONOS towards A and B, because there is currently a lot of noise being made. CHIWA gets another pick. Kalusia does get the trade, who's gonna have to go back to safety, but a lot of these members are now a little confused as to what side it might be committed to.
Yeah, I love the reaction from VAMONOS. They know that they have given so much pressure on the A side. They mind game this against BONK. And they let 1-for-1. It's not quite enough to equalize the odds. Sick though. Oh, Aftershock. Is it enough? The Rolling Thunder coming back, and that Rolling Thunder keeps BONK alive. Aftershock could have been so bad for BONK, especially when it's comboed with that fault line. But I think the fault line already it went off when the aftershock came. There's time for them to just swing wide with that rolling thunder. That could have been catastrophically. Like, look at this.
It could have been indeed, but instead they managed to still hold on. 9-8 from the side of BONK. They are absolutely crawling back here. VAMONOS, however, are not making this too easy, but I think that early aggression from CHIWA in the previous round is really what set them up for success. What allowed them to get that numbers advantage, get some of that confidence, and go onto that C site. And now that, you know, some of these utils have been invested, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult for VAMONOS here, especially on this eco round.
Yeah, they're gambling towards A side. CHIWA already just walking through C. It's like, oh, it seems free. And this is exactly what CHIWA does the best. Last round was already great. That first pick coming from A side. Now doing that again. Sunshine Sauce with the knife in hand. This is exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about CHIWA's lurks. They find so much space. Not even just mid, but you have to be careful for every one of these tubes, every one of these entrances.
Yeah, and I think, like as we mentioned earlier, CHIWA wasn't pulling off as much of these lurks as we were used to, but now that he's kind of upped the game a little in terms of getting these lurks, it feels like the team is capitalizing off of it perfectly, and VAMONOS is now struggling to deal with the lurks, but at the same time deal with the remaining members of BONK who are deciding to commit to sites. And again, Zeke, one man left standing. Seems to be a recurring theme here that every single time there's a round, there's always going to be one person left. And unfortunately for Zeke, he's the one this time. Just is going a little bit for the hunt, but again, be a little bit more careful with that because you can lose your rifle just like that. That happens, but CHIWA makes sure that he doesn't take it anywhere. Double digits for BONK, but we've seen this before.
You absolutely have. BONK last time around, they were not able to close the map. I think now we're coming to the point where BONK, they have to find these rounds. They have to find, I think, the dominating confidence. Because if VAMONOS gets more rounds in the second half, they will be able to reach CHIWA better and better and better. And it's gonna work. It's not gonna work that well anymore. But Showstopper, Hunter's Fury, from the shadows, a lot of ultimates coming up, and already Showstopper.
Immediately coming out, it's gonna get counted a little bit. It makes it difficult for Jester to push through. And members are already staying away from A short. Kaluja and Vorun on the other side of the map, they're doing so much already. You want to push down A long? Sure, go for it, but we're gonna stop you. Cider does get Kaluja eventually, but still, there's so many members to deal with. Vorun blinded! And still gets a chance to take Cider down. Information given away in terms of the position of the remaining players. CHIWA gets one, just to the other, and now Nile is left to fend for himself. Has that lockdown available, and as far as he's aware, no util can destroy it.
Oh, Nile, way too early for the lockdown. BONK just decide, yeah, let's not plant here. Let's just go to the other side. I think they're gonna go for C side. Some kind of setups waiting for them. One nano swarm, kills a turret. I think Nile is not reading this to completion.
Yeah, that lockdown unfortunately being invested a little early.
Can't use that yet.
It's now gone.
30
Is
seconds
aware
left.
that it's going to be a C push. 30 seconds left, and BONK, they have enough time to play with. He needs to go
Spike planted.
for the swing. They're expecting him to come from CT or be long. They're not aware of his position. Loses the duel. And 11-8 for BONK. They're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, well played by CHIWA and Yuzu, especially in that 2 versus 1. But also in that 2 versus 3 situation, CHIWA 20 kills. Finding that first kill, getting neural theft as well, is so crucial for the round. And all of a sudden, VAMONOS, they're looking like they're the scared ones. We might see that third map. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about that. I'm glad to go to the third map.
Yeah.
But VAMONOS, they seem so different on this defensive side that they did on attacking.
Yeah, it feels like definitely more on the defensive side. It was the same on Icebox as well for VAMONOS. It feels like that's potentially more their comfort.
Could definitely be. VAMONOS, they could still do it. I think it was
Of course.
11-8, the situation was exactly this, where VAMONOS was able to get 4 rounds in a row.
They're not going to get spotted out by the drone, but they are going to be able to get some information with the dart, and that's the pain shell on Zeke. And unfortunately, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place and a raised nade. Cider gets one, kicks the other. Klija is not going to get much out of that Bladestorm besides one pick. Nille, as well as Forward, they have so much to do. They still have CHIWA to deal with, who once again has been an absolute pain in their side. 2 HP left, case triggered. They're aware of his position. They know that it's 2 HP, wants to go for the peak, but Forward, that's CHIWA you're playing with. Unfortunately for you, this man knows what he's doing. Or as Pavlos would say, this dog barks and he bites.
Yes, he does. I mean, this CYPHER is so unfair for VAMONOS. CHIWA CYPHER is so unfair. And this is exactly what I wanted to see in this meta. Because you have those heavy CYPHER players. CHIWA definitely one of those. Nille could play CYPHER as well. Just overall Sentinel players that play Killjoy and CYPHER mostly. Magnum, one of them. I love to see them play. I love to see them work around this map, and I think CHIWA has actually performed really well on the chamber meta, but I'm happy to see him back into the CYPHER.
Yeah, I think the CYPHER is definitely like that signature agent for CHIWA, and it's something that he'll always be, you know, recognized for, at least here in Polaris. But the timeouts for VAMONOS, I think, potentially a little too late. You're waiting for the timeout when you're 1 round away for potentially losing the map. So this could have gone through a little earlier. I think it could have given them a chance to, you know, figure out exactly the issues, which so far seem to be CHIWA, and yeah, according to my notes, CHIWA.
Yeah, good notes right there.
Thank you. I pride myself on my notes and lack thereof.
12-8. VAMONOS, they need 4 rounds in a row. They have good ultimates. But
Yeah.
so does BONK. Hunter's Fury from the shadows. Kicks as well. Really close for Rolling Thunder. And the seaside is just gonna be given away. VAMONOS is gonna play retake.
From the shadow, Hunter's Fury actually is going to be coming out from the side of VAMONOS, so they're looking to play off of that. It's going to give them the spike. It's going to be put down. Foreign gets to pick himself with the Hunter's Fury, as well as another with the Vandal. Only 1 member make that 2 from the side of VAMONOS have been dropped so far, and that gives CHIWA once again another neural theft to be put online. Everything's uploading in terms of their positions, and it gives BONK the opportunity to counteract the way that VAMONOS has been playing. They have to be dealing with Sunshine, completely blind. That spike needs to be picked up, but this is such a rough angle to clear. You have double elevation, you have 4-1, but to take 1 down, 2 left. You are 2 on 2. This is doable. If anything, Sunshine gets 1. CHIWA gets another. Sunshine finishes this one off, extending the hopes and dreams for VAMONOS by 1 more round. But BONK, 1 is all they need.
I think CHIWA was trying to do a little popping swing right there, but it doesn't quite get what he wants. Sunshine, I think he tags CHIWA and the swing isn't gonna go too far. Yeah, good effort from the side of BONK right there. 2 versus 3 situation, making the best out of that. But not quite enough for the round. VAMONOS is still in it, but with the lower buy once again.
Yeah. VAMONOS is looking a little shaken here. CHIWA starting it off incredibly strong. So is Klija though. Zeke is not making this any easier for Bonker to close out. And once again, the spike is dropped in their lap. VAMONOS is like, yo, do you guys just not want this spike? But it doesn't matter because Jusu just wants to win. He doesn't need the spike to win. He just needs to click your head.
Yeah, Cider. Is he gonna peek before the smokes come in? No, Nille almost salvaging it. It's all up to Warren, and he doesn't quite connect onto both of these players. And BONK, they win out the Haven. They win out their map pick. And we are proven wrong. BONK can absolutely play well in Haven. Even though that the first half didn't quite look like it. the second half definitely did. They were not giving a chance to VAMONOS. Obviously, yeah, 3 rounds that could have been gathered up by VAMONOS. We have seen that previously, but not this time around.
Have we been proven wrong or have we been proven right? Because our predictions all went towards the side of BONK, and it feels like on Haven, this does exactly show why that's the case. Whereas on Icebox, potentially in one of the maps that they're not very comfortable with, we have Ascent that's going to be the decider once again. So I think that's where we're really going to see the difference, because both of these teams now are under equal amounts of pressure. This was BONK's game to win, because VAMONOS, it's not their map pick, but also they already had that 1 game advantage. But coming into this, it feels like VAMONOS did let go a little of the steering wheel. It felt more that they're sitting more in a submissive position in terms of they're letting BONK dictate the pace once BONK found their pace, of course. And fortunately for BONK, they live to fight another day, but VAMONOS now, as we're going to be heading on to the 3rd map, they need to get it together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been talking about the Haven, like BONK being like, I think it was 1 month ago when they were playing this chamber. Obviously, they had a little bit different lineup with Destructive and Keiko.
Yeah.
I don't think their Haven looked that good, but now with CHIWA on that CYPHER, it looks so well polished, especially how CHIWA worked around this map.
Yep. And I think that also leaves us to highlight, obviously, CHIWA as the MVP. I think once he picked up in terms of getting those lurks off, once he got comfortable again in his element, that really showed, and it really was difficult for VAMONOS to deal with the CHIWA. I mean, to be fair, so far it's been difficult for every single team here in Polaris to deal with it, so welcome, I guess. I'm gonna keep repeating that for a little. Zic on the MVP. He did so much for the team. The util user was absolutely beautiful, but it felt all in all this time around, VAMONOS as a whole, as a roster, as a 5-man struggled rather than individuals not, you know, living up to the expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we go to Ascent, talking about the recency bias, both of these teams have exactly the same scoreline. They have played 10 games each in Ascent and won 8. Only lost 2 games, which is really interesting. I think VAMONOS, they have already a comp that they would probably run in this matchup, but for the side of BONK, they have Sage as their sole sentinel, so I think there might be a switch up right there. I don't think they're gonna run only Sage, unless, I don't think the Sage is gonna be in the composition at all, most likely. Maybe it could surprise us.
Maybe not, but if you want to find out, make sure to stick around, because we're gonna be back in a few.